We'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the April 5th meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before we begin, Madam Clerk, if we could pull item C1 under the Counselor's office. I understand that there was a resolution reached and this will not be necessary. And that's a motion to pull item C1.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0 to pull that item. If we could now begin with our first item.
Consent agenda?
There are 5 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding them?
I have none. I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Oh, let's see.
I had a question about an item on the consent agenda. I didn't know if
Ms.
this
Marple, if you would come on up.
I didn't know if this was the appropriate time or not.
If you wish to, I have no problem.
Okay. I was looking at, I should have worn my glasses here, item number 3 about the contract to perform the audit. And I was curious about what the 5% administrative expense was.
Sure.
Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. That is just for their, any of their administrative costs, whether it be, you know, their, what do I want to say, their travel expenses, their paper they use. I mean, it's a pretty standard additional cost that auditors tack on their bid.
And before we, Betty, while we have you here, prior to the meeting, this was a question as to whether or not we should put this under the consent agenda or put this as a regular item.
Right.
Typically, contracts with large amounts of money we would put as a regular item, but we place this as a consent. Do you want to talk about why we place it as a consent?
Yes, I will. This is the second year of a 3-year commitment that we awarded to these auditors. When we had the first year, which was last year for 2016, rather than putting a contract number on the awarding the bid, we put the contract number on the engagement letter, which was just for the audit for 2016. So in order for the payments to work for 2017, I needed a contract number for this engagement letter. So it's really, it's part of this 3-year commitment that we awarded this bid to RSM for 3 years. This is just the second of the 3 years. So it's really just a formality to get a contract number on there. The amount is consistent with the proposal that they had given us.
Okay. Ms. Marple, did you have another question?
Of course.
Yes.
Oh. Well, so we are, is it 5% of their total, the 92,000?
Yes,
Why didn't they figure that in, the 92,000?
that's just the way they bid it.
Okay, so the county is paying that to the firm that is doing the auditing.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, thank you very much.
With that, I believe there was a motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
New business, item A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
The vouchers are totaling $535,635.10. The largest amount on the vouchers today is a bridge project, 29th over Deer Creek, and that is $160,190.00. Past that, we have holding accounts, $132,468.11. And Public Works, $37,135.18. I have no questions. I'd move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook for approval, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, planning. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2018-15, requesting additional time for further action, consideration, and modification for the proposed Shawnee County Comprehensive Plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. As the Commission will recall, back in October of 2017, the Planning Commission had recommended to you the draft comprehensive plan. Upon your consideration, the plan was rejected in its present form, and it was returned to the Planning Commission for additional review and consideration. Attached to that was an exhibit that included 8 pages of questions, comments, and suggested changes. The Planning Commission received that and started their discussion in November of 2017. That was their first opportunity to at least consider what the County Commission had sent back to them, and started in earnest in December of this last year. They have worked their way all the way through the document, starting with the introduction, concluding with Chapter 7 on implementation, and taking note of all the questions, comments, and concerns that were raised by the County Commission. So they've done their once through, concluding here in March, but now they're going to go back and start doing the real wordsmithing of recommending changes to the document itself. And so realizing that where they were in the process, it led to this action by the Planning Commission on March 12th to request an additional 90 days to hopefully give them the time necessary to complete their review and recommendation back to the County Commission. And I'm joined this morning also by Judy Moeller, the Chair of the Planning Commission, if there's any questions that you may have from the Planning Commission. So
90 days would put us into July.
I think that's correct, yeah.
Commissioner Bueller, any
I don't
questions?
have any questions, no.
Commissioner Archer, any questions on this item?
A couple. Is the consultant still working with the Planning Commission?
No,
Okay, so there's no consultant, there's no expenses
Correct.
at this point. Is there an interim report that we could see of what's been accomplished over the past 180 days?
I believe that as part of your receipt of the Planning Commission agenda packet each month, it includes the minutes, so it
Right.
has all the discussions that have taken place. We have not produced a summary at this point.
Okay.
But the minutes are a reflection of all the discussion and all the issues that the Planning Commission has addressed.
Okay. And what will be accomplished in the next 90 days?
Well, we want to engage every question, every issue, every concern that was raised in the exhibit by the County Commission. And we want to also, in addressing those, incorporate those changes, hopefully, into the draft document itself. Now, more than likely, the final form that it would come back to you will be probably as a Word document as opposed to the highly polished one that you initially received, just because it's going to be considered a working document still. But yes, we hope to, give you a complete document back that shows and demonstrates all the changes that have been recommended by the Planning Commission.
Okay. I'm not going to support this extension of time. I think we've spent enough time on this, and I think our Planning Commission and our Planning Department has better things to do than to continue this, and I'll tell you why. I think that we can't reconcile the common sense regulation that our constituents expect of us with these radical rules and restrictions that the consultants have put in the report. So I think it's time to move on to other things, and I will be voting no. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Before we move on to any other discussion, Judy, if I could ask for you to come up.
You need my name for the record?
Yes, please.
Judy Moeller, Chair of the Shawnee County Planning Commission.
And Judy, I know that you, in reviewing of the Planning Commission minutes that we receive, the Planning Commission has been going through the comprehensive plan really line by line, section by section, and going through the critique of the county commission as to
Yes.
concerns we had with it. Do you believe that 90 days is going to give you the sufficient time to finish up this review and get this back to us?
Yes, sir, I hope that it will, Commissioner Cook. The other thing I might throw out is that we have 2 new commissioners, so in fairness to them, they're kind of thrown into this as we're a moving train, so we're trying to catch them up too. But yes, we will try our best to do it in 3 months.
Okay. And then at that time, we would have then a document for the commission to consider either for approval or rejection at that point?
Yes, yes.
Okay. But the bulk of the work is, Director Beagle indicated was done, it's just mainly going back through and making sure all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed and concerns are addressed.
And readdressing your questions and how we can answer that, yes.
Okay. And those are public meetings the Planning Commission has that any member of the public is able to attend and listen in or add input to.
That's true, and Ms. Marple is our apostle. She follows us to all the meetings.
And so if members of the public have concerns about what's being discussed with the comprehensive plan or where it's at, even at this point, they have the ability to appear to be for the Planning Commission.
Absolutely. I might mention that our next meeting should have been next Monday, but it's moved to the 16th for reasons of getting a quorum there, so.
And where do you meet at?
We meet at the Shawnee County Annex
Okay.
in the meeting room there.
All right. Commissioner Bueller, anything?
And so there's ample time for multiple people in our community to give input still. So you're going to have at least how many more meetings before it comes back to us at the Planning
Well,
Commission level?
At least 3.
At least 3, okay.
We may have to have a special meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Commissioner Archer?
I did want to say that I have no criticism whatsoever of the Planning Commission or the Planning Department and the fine work they do. My concern is reconciling a consultant's report that does not understand Shawnee County and our residents and our constituents and trying to shove that into something that we just don't need in Shawnee County. And I don't think that can be reconciled, and that's my reason for voting no. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Judy, for coming up and talking with us. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to address this item?
Carol Marple, I hadn't intended to say anything about this, but I do want to recognize that the commission has worked extremely hard on this. But I also do agree with Commissioner Archer. I think it was rather unfair to ask them to look and make changes on a comprehensive plan that they had no input on. And they didn't. I don't believe any of the members of the commission were on the original board that made. You were on the original. So, you know, I think that's very hard. I just think Commissioner Archer summed it up with the fact that at this time, because I think there are so many things that they would have to reconcile, that's the best word. But they have worked hard. I mean, their meetings last till 9:30, 9:45, and they're certainly giving it all they have. But it seems to me like kind of a waste of time. And I have always believed that if we enforce the laws or the regulations that we have currently, that some of the needs that are talked about in the comprehensive plan would be taken care of. So that's just my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. Any other member of the public?
I'll move to adopt the resolution.
I'm going to second, but Commissioner Archer, I will let you know why. This is a comprehensive plan that I think that we have invested a lot of time and money into. And I agree that there were concerns that the commission had about the commission report, the comprehensive plan, and we sent it back to the Planning Commission with our concerns. To give the Planning Commission the ability to address our concerns, and I think that they're owed that due respect. We outlined our concerns for them, to allow them to address our concerns, to see if those concerns can be reconciled, to move forward for a county, for a comprehensive plan, I think is of great importance. It's not costing our taxpayers more money in consultant fees, and as long as our commission is willing to take that on, there are some of our best paid employees. But I think that it does add a voice to the county commission. It gives a view of the constituents as to what the comprehensive plan should look like. And so I'm going to second the request for the extension of 90 days. So,
And I appreciate that. I can only quote Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them and know when to walk away and know when to run. So,
thank you for not for singing it.
I understand, Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller to grant the 90-day extension, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
No.
Passes 2-1 with Commissioner Archer dissenting. Our next item.
Number 2, consider acceptance of reports from Builders' Choice Aggregates from 2010 to present, with the next 2-year report due April 1, 2020, as set out in a conditional use permit granted in 2006 for an off-river sand extraction operation on Northwest 17th Street between Northwest Landon Road and Northwest Countryside Road in Minokan Township.
Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. Builder's Choice was granted a conditional use permit back in 2006 to establish an off-river sand extraction operation. They commenced operations in 2009, and in accordance with the conditional use permit and its restrictions of use, submitted a first-year report as required in 2010. Subsequent to 2010, they were also supposed to submit reports on a 2-year basis, and unfortunately, those reports were not forthcoming. It was just recently discovered. They promptly prepared the report as required by the resolution, and this report gives a summary of their extraction operations from 2010 to present. We find that they are continuing to operate in accordance with the terms and conditions of the conditional use permit, which is the subject of these 2-year reports, and I recommend your acceptance of their report.
Any questions regarding this? Commissioner Archer, any questions?
Move to approve.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Archer. I'll second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. Our next item.
Number 3, consider approval of the final plat of Silver Lake Fire Station Number 64 subdivision, a 3-acre, 1-lot subdivision located at the northeast corner of Northwest 62nd Street and Northwest Levy Road in Silver Lake Township.
In Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. In 2015, the fire district was granted a conditional use permit to construct a fire station at the corner of 62nd and Levy Road. One of the conditions of approval was that the property be platted. This now completes that step, that action, and it would establish a 1-lot subdivision plat for this 3-acre parcel.
Any questions on this item? And then, so this is just going, again, through the formalities that they've met to construct the fire station at some
Correct.
point.
This would then, upon completion of this, would allow them to secure a building permit to commence construction.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook for approval, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C, Counselor Number 1 was pulled. Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-121-2018 with Kansas City Ice Cream Company for a 2018 mobile food truck permit to provide food and/or beverage to the citizens in parks in Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. The item before you is just to have a mobile food truck person come in, and it's our permit that was established back on April 28th in 2016. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Just to kind of review, we did adopt a food vendor licensing process where they pay a $250 application fee.
Yes.
And the Kansas City Ice Cream Company has paid that fee, and
They have paid that fee. They're just waiting on this process, and then we have the independent contractor form per the county councilor that they have to fill out as well. And then once that process goes through, we will let them know. It's usually a 10 to 15-day process.
so this does not cost the county any money to have them operating?
No. This is very similar to what the city has. The city has, I believe they call it, don't quote me, but a peddler's license for $300. And back in 2016, we did collaborate with the city and worked with them to come up with our mobile food truck permit as well.
Any questions?
I move approval of the contract.
Motion for approval of the contract by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-122, 2018, with the Kansas Department of Transportation to exchange federal funds under the Federal Aid Fund Exchange Master Agreement in an amount of $1,823.20 for the federal fiscal year 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Blanc with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item. And we have been notified of what the amount of funds we will be receiving from the Federal Highway Administration on federal funds for road and bridge projects that is administered through KDOT. This request here is to enter into the agreement with KDOT to exchange those funds for state funds to be utilized for a project. And these funds here, we would be slated to go towards 29th Street, Southeast 29th Street, between the KTA Bridge on the city limits out towards Corporal Road. We believe that this is the best route to take on this particular allotment, and so is our request that this be approved, and we will exchange those funds for state funds. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Tom, I know we've had discussion previously, but our exchange rate was, we had a much higher exchange rate at one point.
Yes, it was 90 cents on the dollar, and they reduced it to 75 cents on the dollar this year.
And so the state is taking more and more as we move on and through the contract years.
In this particular year, the amount that they're retaining for administration has gone up.
And the reason why we do the exchange rate is that
Well, the reason we do it is when you use the federal funds as opposed to state dollars, this exchange allows us to take the federal funds and use state dollars. There's different administrative requirements associated with federal dollars as compared to state dollars. State dollars is much less, for lack of a better term, red tape, and we feel that especially due to the size of this project, this is going to be an $8 million project, that the reduction in all those additional administrative costs, including we require like an extra person to be on site for record keeping during construction. We think the cost savings in reducing all of that will far outweigh the less amount received due to the reduction in the exchange rate. And we believe that we will receive much better bids because the contractors will have less red tape to go through, and that would reduce their bids. We did this on the Willard Bridge project, and it's not the only reason. And there were some things. When we were in a very good bidding climate at that time, but we do believe that played a factor in the bids that we received.
But if the state continues to take more and more, at some point, won't we hit the tipping point where we'll just have to opt out of the exchange and
Yeah, we have that option every year of just taking straight federal dollars and applying that. And we will evaluate that on a year-by-year or a project-by-project basis. In this particular case, we think exchanging it makes more sense. And I can't say we will think that every time, but in this particular case, we do.
So I think at some point, if the state continues to take more and give less, we'll at some point have to opt out because it won't make financial sense anymore.
Right, and it's, I guess, you're right, we'll make that decision at that time, is it worth the reduction in the actual dollars received to go ahead and utilize the federal funds, and with that coming the additional administrative costs.
Commissioner Bueller?
I don't have any questions, no.
Commissioner Archer? I'll move for approval of the request to exchange federal funds under the Federal Aid Fund Exchange Master Agreement.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to create and fill a full-time unclassified exempt Deputy Solid Waste Director position at a salary range plus benefits of $56,472 to $90,272, depending on qualifications and experience.
Commissioners, Tom Block again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a a solid waste item. And as you may or may not be aware, Joan Graves, a longtime employee of Shawnee County and a big name in the solid waste department with trash and recycling, is going to be retiring here. And her current position is operations assistant. What I'm asking for here is to take her duties and increase them into a position as a deputy solid waste director that would have much more supervisory involvement with personnel, labor negotiations, more involvement in the budget, and just with an operation of that size, in the span of control I have right now. Right now, between the two departments, I have a span of control of 13 people that directly report to me. Ideally, from a management standpoint, 7 is like the ideal number. I'm about double what it should be, and although I hate to admit it, I think I've reached a point where I need some more assistance on that end, and that's what this is attempting to do. So the timing of this with her going, I've just kind of waited because I knew her retirement was going to be coming for the last couple of years, 2-3 years. This is what her plan was. One, hold out until she left, was going to be leaving this position and taking that position, increasing it or enhancing it, and creating this position. I think it will, and with my involvement between the two departments, I'll be honest, I am either out of the office at meetings down here or just at different meetings, probably 50% of the time. It would be well worth it, in my opinion, to have someone that's there nearly all the time, and this position would be. So I think that's the reasoning for the request. The funding for this would again come from the solid waste department. Again, that's no tax monies that would be involved. I've had discussions with Human Resources Director and the Director of Administrative Services, gone over the position description, looked at where we felt it was appropriate to fit on the pay scale, and this is what we've come up with, and that is my request. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Commissioner Archer, any questions?
I don't have any other.
I just want to thank Ms. Graves for all of her years of service. I know that her retirement's not quite here yet, but she is a big name in the Shawnee County Solid Waste Department. She has done a great job as we embarked on the recycling, helping guide us through the recycling project, a great asset to Shawnee County. She'll be sorely missed as she retires, and so there's some kind of big shoes to fill in that area. But I think this is also a mark of a good leader, knowing that, our span of control and reorganization, and one of the things the County Commission has taken on is under our span of control and making sure that we are the most efficient that we can be. So I'll support you in the request to create and fill a full-time Deputy Solid Waste Director position. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I think Commissioner Archer, you got beat by Commissioner Bueller this time. So, motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Our next item.
Item F, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-123-2018 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for mosquito surveillance and education materials with funding of $11,000 from the KDHE Bureau of Epidemiology and Public Health Informatics from May 1, 2018 through October 31, 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Ochs from the Health Department. This agreement with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment gives us some funding to help do mosquito surveillance in Shawnee County. This will be the second year. Last year was our first year. We are specifically looking for the mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus and the Zika virus. So our environmental health staff and some of our medical Reserve Corps volunteers will be picking up and setting up the traps in 6 different locations in Shawnee County. And then the University of Kansas, there's a professor there who does the analysis of the mosquitoes and gives us the data. And last year we did have some of the Aedes aegypti, which is the kind of mosquito that can carry Zika. So I think it's an important thing that we can do and help with surveillance. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
How does this fit in with our overall messaging, getting out, talking with the media, the public about mosquito prevention, the disease? How does this fit into the big picture of the Shawnee County Health Department?
Well, it fits in the big picture because we'll be having our Dump Day campaign again this year, and we're actually going to be expanding that campaign, so we'll be coming back with information about that soon. But we'll be having that public campaign to encourage people to dump bird baths, fountains, buckets of water when it rains, those kinds of things that trap water and that then mosquitoes can breed. And I can tell you the type of mosquito that carries Zika, they don't travel very far, but they can be local, so we want to make sure this can be an effective way to deal with those. So, and it's part of our duty in surveillance, disease surveillance and causes of disease. So I think it fits right in with our mission.
I remember from our report last year, we noticed that there were a lot of mosquitoes in Silver Lake.
Yes.
So it becomes a very local issue. But how do we combat that? How do we stop the spread of disease or other issues? And so this fits in with our Shawnee County Health Department and the new position that we created with the
epidemiologist,
Thank
yes,
you.
will be doing the analysis for us of these, of the data we receive back from KU. And so I can tell you we're already working with Silver Lake, that KDHE is already asking some questions about what they use to spray, getting samples, so that work has already begun.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Our next item.
Item G, Administrative Services. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-124-2018 with Smith Detection for maintenance of the courthouse metal detection equipment in an amount of $9,758 with funding from the county's general expense.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. This is the annual renewal for our maintenance agreement on the courthouse metal detectors. The amount remained the same.
Any questions regarding this?
Move to approve the contract.
Just might note it as a sole source
Yes,
purchase.
because of
and
the brand of the metal detector.
And that authorization form is included, so. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item H, Commission. Number 1, consider approval of Resolution Number 2018-17 in support of eliminating human trafficking.
Commissioners, this is a resolution that I would like for us to consider. There's going to be a press conference at 11 o'clock today at the Law Enforcement Center to go into a little bit more detail about it, but it does mirror a resolution that was passed by the City Council just to impact the local commitment from the city and the county together to take on and combat human trafficking in any form that it may be, and to show that as a community this is something that we are opposed to and we will take all measures to prevent. And so I would move to adopt the resolution in support of eliminating human trafficking.
I'll second and would say thank you to Barry Feeker, to the Rescue Mission, and to Safe Streets. I know they're partners with this as well, so completely support it.
Commissioner Archer?
Yes, me too. I think it's a bold step, and Barry Feeker is to be commended for taking this bold step.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook for the adoption of the resolution, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Administrative communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any matter of interest or importance.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Inspector of Venue Management at the Kansas Expo Center. Just wanted to give everyone an update on some great events we have coming tomorrow and this weekend. So this weekend marks the last two Roadrunners hockey games of the season. They start tomorrow at 7:05 p.m. and Saturday at 7:05 p.m. On Saturday, that will also be the last public open skate day and late skate after the hockey game of the year as well. So we're looking forward to getting all those folks out there and enjoying the ice one last time. The Armed Services is hosting a departure in Exhibition Hall tomorrow morning and early afternoon as we say thank you and Godspeed to all of our Armed Services members that will be doing their deployment, I believe, in Kuwait. And then next weekend, next Saturday, is the Skillet and For King and Country concert. Ticket sales are going very well for that. We actually are nearing capacity, so we're going to figure out strategies to open up additional tickets. So if you would like to get tickets for that show, I recommend doing that sooner rather than later, as there are still a few available at the moment. So,
I like hearing at capacity. Yes. Good news.
Commissioners Tom Block, Public Works and Solid Waste. As you may recall, last Thursday, Commissioner Bueller caught me trying to pass on some fake news. So I am here to pass on real news today regarding our HHW. Our Household Hazardous Waste Facility will be open this Saturday. So hopefully no one showed up last week. This Saturday from 9 to noon. Located at 131 Northeast 46th Street, again, which is about a quarter of a mile east of the roundabout at Northwest 46th in Topeka Boulevard. And it's free to Shawnee County residents to drop off household hazardous waste, including old oils, paints, light bulbs, pesticides, herbicides, things of that nature. So that is it.
Thank you.
Dave Bartles, Shawnee County Parks. My email has been blowing up and my phone has been ringing off the hook, and so I thought I'd let everybody know what's going on with tulip time and things.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. What? Maybe not. Oh, sorry. One more to the right. Okay. Well, there we go. All right. Well, anyway, tulip time has been something that's gone on for 12 years. We've had very few issues with weather. We've had a few years where it goes late. We've had a year where it was over by the time it was supposed to start because of the weather. Well, weather is a great problem. There is no good answer. I would love to tell everybody that they're going to turn on next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, but it probably won't happen. So anyway, to do some clarification, Tulip Time is an overall event where people can come out and see our three gardens at Ted Inslee Gardens at the lake, at Doran Rock Garden, at Gage Park, and Old Prairie Town Ward B Botanical Garden. You can come see tulips. We have 112,000 tulips overall. That's an overall thing. It's from April 6th to the 23rd. Well, this year, it'll be sometime next week, so we'll be posting that on our Facebook. The next thing, this is how they're supposed to look. And so, anyway, if we had warm weather, it would be a great thing, but it's not really how life goes sometimes. So, this is what we took pictures of yesterday. So here's the deal. We try and diversify what we plant. We have 108 varieties out there. we have early season, we have mid-season, and late season. This is one of our early season ones, and the chances of these surviving the impending doom of Saturday morning at 15 to 18 degrees is pretty slim. The bulbs, the heads of the buds are already there. What happens is the cells inside actually stretch and then they degrade. And this is yesterday afternoon. Yesterday morning they looked fine even after the really extreme cold. During the day today we're going to have 65 degrees. It's going to push more moisture up in there, and then we're going to have more problems. The best thing in the world we could have is 3 inches of snow to insulate them. And then if we had the cold, the later season varieties, it'd be okay. This is a combination. Okay, the one on the top is a mid-season variety, and they're still protected by leaves. If we had snow over the top of them, we'd still be in pretty good shape. The one on the bottom, that's a later season variety. They're going to be great. So we still have, even if this goes through, we're probably going to be okay, unless it gets really extreme. I have no control over that. So anyway, I wanted to explain some of that. So if we can keep the temperatures above 22, I'd really appreciate it. But if anybody has a way to solve that, I don't know. So then we have our special events. We set all of our special events all the way 6 months in advance. We figured this out in November. We went by 30-year averages. 5 times it's not come up within those values. So I'm actually pleased about that number. It's pretty nice. It's dependable. This year it's not. So the Tulip Time Festival at the lake was supposed to be Sunday. It makes no sense to do it without tulips and the snow. So we're going to move it to the 22nd, Sunday the 22nd. And so there'll still be 30-plus vendors. We've got food trucks, we have live entertainment, and we have a car show. So it should be a great event. So that's kind of what that looks like. That's what it's supposed to look like anyway. So Tulips at Twilight, it doesn't depend on live tulips as much. I still think it absolutely is critical that they're there. The show can go on, weather permitting. So we're still saying 6th through the 15th, and we may have to cancel due to weather concerns. I don't want people out there in poor conditions. It wouldn't be different if we had a thunderstorm roll through. We would pull people inside. This time it's going to be ice. We don't want people walking out there, so it's obvious that way. But we also may extend it. We'll look and see what it goes. We may extend the other end. So, John, did you want to say anything more?
Good morning, Commissioners, Recreation Program Supervisor, Old Prairie Town, John Bell, I didn't say my name. Yeah, to just kind of piggyback on what Dave has mentioned, the event will start tomorrow night, April 6th, and we will start at 10 o'clock. The Friday and Saturdays, both weekends, we have full-blown activities. We have concerts scheduled. We have all the buildings will be open. So if it is a cooler night, that'd be a great time to walk the grounds and then pop into one of the 8 buildings that we do have open that have heat. So you can get warm and then go back out and enjoy the light displays. So. Any questions on Tulips at Twilight? And I might mention that all the proceeds from Tulips at Twilight and the festival stay at the sites to help with, specifically Old Prairie Town. They help with the enhancements at Tulips at Twilight. So,
Right, I just have a couple more things to say, and that's that we should really thank the friends groups that are involved in this, because they spend thousands of hours, literally thousands of hours of time to put this together. And it's important to them especially. And it's important to Topeka too, because it brings people from all over the state and all over the country in here. And you know, it's good anytime that they can eat our food and stay in our hotels. So the other thing is, we really need to say a thank you to the Shawnee County Parks Foundation.
Absolutely.
Because they have been super good to us. Visit Topeka has helped reschedule things And there have been a number of individuals that we need to be very thankful for, because we couldn't all do it by ourselves.
And the master gardeners and the volunteers and everybody out.
Everybody. I mean, there's thousands of hours out there. So anyway, thank you. And hopefully I can give you a better report maybe in a week.
All right.
Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Dick, I'm just shocked to hear that you don't have control over the weather.
Oh, no.
But as our city manager reminds us, it's still warmer than our neighbors to the north in Iowa.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. I just wanted to announce that I was given notice by the National Commission on Correctional Health Care Tuesday that our facility, our medical and our mental health programs were given full accreditation through that accrediting body, and will be accredited for the next 3 years. We have been accredited since, I think, 2004. And this is, the process goes where you have to follow 100% of the essential standards, and then there's other important standards that you have to serve or meet at a certain percent. But this entails having an objective group of people coming from all different areas of the United States that we open the door and we stand back. We don't get to pick the files they look at. We don't get to pick who they talk to. They interview staff. They interview inmates. They interview people from the public. They interview me. And this is a stressful 2 days for us because this is important. It sets a benchmark for us that we do follow national standards, that I believe that the health care and the mental health care that we give in Shawnee County in our Department of Corrections is outstanding, and we put a lot of work and effort in that. I do have two people I want to introduce, and that's Major Eve Kendall and Captain Brandy Biltoff, if they'll come up where they're at. There they are. Eve oversees the accreditation area at the deputy director's level, and Brandy is the person who is the doer. Brandy, this is a team effort, and Brandy will tell you that is a team effort, and it is. It takes a lot of moving parts when it comes to a lot of different areas, and unit supervisors coming together to meet and exceed the standards, providing proof that we're doing, not just saying we're adhering to it. We have to provide valid paperwork to show a history of what we're doing. But Brandy's the one on the floor. Brandy's the one that holds me accountable, that says, look, we're not following this, we're doing this. And, our agency is very proud that Brandy is there in this position. Our agency, one of the things that part of my philosophy is transparency, and that we have a great deal of people that come through our facility. We have people that come in from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, the U.S. Marshals, the Fire Marshals, Department of Homeland Security, you name it, American Correctional Association. They come in a lot of times unannounced. They show up at the door and say, we're here to do an audit. I wish I could plan for every audit, maybe to do things, but often Brandy will get a call, or Eve will get a call that says, hey, we're going to be there in about 15 minutes. And these can be very stressful, but I'm not worried about them. In that I know we're in good hands. I might be in the best place because I'm the one that gets the letters or the awards, and that's neat, but it's not me. It's the staff, and Eve and Brandy go above and beyond. And so this is a very big deal to us, to be able to say this goes along with our accreditation at the Juvenile Detention Center, and also we've got, this year I want to become accredited or passing all of our standards when it comes to the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which is an unfunded mandate by the government, which we have to put that, and then within the next 3 years, I want to be a total facility-wide accredited facility. So, Brandy, or you guys have anything you want to say?
Hi, Captain Brandy Biltoff, the Shawnee County Department of Corrections. A couple years ago, when the Juvenile Detention Center became ACA accredited, Director Cole put me on the spot like this, and I was like, I have no idea what to say. I had a sneaky suspicion this was going to happen, so he is correct. This is not one person, so I appreciate him recognizing even my philosophy on this and our hard work, but this is a whole entire department. They interview inmates as well, so those inmates and what they say coinciding with what we're saying we're doing is vitally important. And then I know there are times that as soon as it happens and somebody walks in our door, I'm calling even people outside of our agency because of what they're asking for. So it is a entire county process, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything?
Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections, seen you before. We strive on teamwork in our agency, and as Brian says, we don't, people don't work for us, we work with them, and if it wasn't everyone pulling together, because sometimes these auditors, they ask for things more like, what? But we make things happen, and we can put anything down on paper as far as our policies and our procedures and stuff, but being able to actually show and have information that shows that we're doing what we say we do, that's, awesome, and that's what makes me feel good, because anybody can, put whatever they want, but actually having outside people come in and saying, yeah, you are doing that, that makes me feel good. It makes, our agency proud, and I hope it makes our county proud. So we will continue to do what we do and hopefully continue to make good things happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Brian, I know that this is something that we started talking about 5 years ago. So you talked about a 2-day accreditation team that came in, but really that's, 5 years in the making to make sure that we had everything in compliance, all of the rules, objectives, policies, and it's a lot of work that went into that.
It is.
This is a great achievement for the Department of Corrections and for Shawnee County to recognize the professional manner in which we manage our inmates in the correction facility. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And happy birthday, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Maw, Shawnee County Treasurer. Even though spring is a little bit late, taxes will be due on May the 10th, and it really doesn't matter what the weather is. We started mailing the second half statements today, so you should be looking for those in your mail. You can pay online. You can drop your payment at the annex. We don't process at the annex, but you can drop your payments at the annex or in Rossville. So May the 10th. One other announcement I have is on the 10th, next Tuesday, we are going to close the annex, the motor vehicle annex on 17th Street for 1 day. It will reopen on the 11th. It's not a permanent closing. We're going to complete some network and electrical wiring inside. And had the weather cooperated, we were hoping to repair the parking lot. We've gotten some complaints about that, and we'd tried to schedule that, but if the weather is correct for the weekend, we probably will have to postpone that for another 3 or 4 weeks. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Ochs from the Health Department. A couple of announcements. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, so we are partnering with our Child Abuse Prevention chapter, which is the Kansas Children's Service League, to have pinwheels for prevention. So these are fine in the snow. They're planted outside our building and the cold. They're going to survive. So they have a little card on them with the parent helpline number, and that's 1-800-CHILDREN. We know parenting is a tough job, so there is help for parents. We also have quite a bit of help at the Health Department as well as the Kansas Children's Service League. So we have these planted outside the main building and the 10th Street Clinic where people can take them home. This may be the only thing that blooms this year in your garden, so take one home. The other announcement I have is this is National Public Health Week, so I would like to wish our Board of Health a happy National Public Health Week. There is a topic each day. Monday was about behavioral health, Tuesday communicable disease, Wednesday environmental health, today is injury and violence prevention, and tomorrow is ensuring the right to health. So as a culmination of this week, we are going to be having our community conversation on Monday, April 9th at 11:45 at the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library. This is our Board of Health meeting. It is sponsored by the the Health Department, the Library, and Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods. We hope everyone comes out to hear Dr. Pizzino and our panel talk about our county health rankings and areas that we can start working on. We've already started on a lot of them, but continue that work. And there'll be a chance for folks to also share their opinions and give comments and ask questions, so I hope we have a really great turnout. I think we have almost 100 RSVPs already. So I'm really pleased that everyone is excited about talking about the health of Shawnee County. So thank you.
And that's on Monday?
It is Monday, April 9th.
And it's at the library?
At the library, 1145. The address of the library is 1515 Southwest 10th Street.
And it's open to the public?
Open to the public. We hope everyone comes.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Archer, anything?
Yes, Mr. Chair, real quickly, I missed the meeting on Monday, as I think you'll know, and in full disclosure, I was at Stormont Vale. I had some unexpected surgery that had to be done, and it was minor surgery. And as I was laying in the pre-op room, and I was cold and nervous, the doctor came in, and he said, "I'm your surgeon, and I've got one question for you." And I said, "Yes, sir, what's that?" He said, "Isn't there anything that can be done about the stop sign at 53rd, 53rd and Fairlawn?" And so the first thing I did this morning was talk to Tom Block and said, "Fix that damn stop sign at 53rd and Fairlawn. You never know when you're going to get the same surgeon." That's it, Mr. Chair.
Well, good to see that.
Thank you.
We do have a meeting this at 11 o'clock at the Law Enforcement Center, and that is on human trafficking. I would invite all of you to be there. Again, as our community takes a stand on that, I would also like to recognize that we do have the city manager present in the audience with us today, so thank you for coming over, as well as Jeff Cohen from City Council member. So always good to see our city partners joining us in its endeavors. So I don't have anything else for this morning. Our next item.
Executive session?
There is not a need for an executive session today, so we are adjourned.